today is International Sleep Day. And maybe your sleep pattern has changed. I have a buddy who I was only talking to recently who says, not really listening to your program at the moment. And I said, okay, you're not liking what I'm doing? He said, no, I'm actually sleeping by day now. I stay up until 6 a.m. and I sleep then right across the day and get up about 4 in the afternoon. And I said, why is it? He says, I'm completely all over the place because of COVID and restrictions and lockdown. I don't know whether it would be fair of me to say that he's struggling, but his sleep pattern's all over the place. And DFI did research into sleep, and what's great about it is that they actually looked very much at Cork, so we can localize it. But rather than me going through it, they invited Dr. Pixie McKenna to chat with regards to sleep and sleep patterns and how it has changed. There is a new word now called coronasomniacs by all accounts. Anyway, Pixie, good morning.
Good morning, Neil. How are you?
I'm well. It's pretty alarming, actually, the changes in people's sleep patterns and how it's impeding on their lives, right?
It is. It's a really big thing. The majority of people have been reporting that there's some issue with their sleep. 40% of people saying they're feeling restless, and similar amount saying they've got coronasomnia, which is a new term for insomnia directly related to coronavirus. And sleep is something that a lot of people take for granted, but it's a survival tool. We've got to do it properly. We've got to get good quality, good quantity sleep. And as the DFI survey showed, that's not really happening at the moment due to COVID and due to life.
And when you say due to COVID, is this worry and anxiety? And if so, did they drill into what's worrying people?
Yeah, they did. So they surveyed 1,800 people, I think it was, and there was a varied age group, so it went from 18 right up to 70. Finances and family and work issues were definitely top of the list. And of course, then the other thing that came out in the DFI survey was that people are boozing more and they're taking more caffeine in, probably because the way they live their lives at the moment is very, very different to how we were doing things over a year ago. And we know that caffeine and alcohol have a huge impact on sleep.
So topping the lists in this of worries, sparking the nation's sleeplessness, and I'm quoting, is finances, plaguing nearly 20% of the population, followed by family matters, work issues, lockdown and coronavirus. Actually, they're all the same issue when you look at it, when you drill into it, aren't they?
Yeah, they're inextricably linked, and it's we've been in this for so long, and I suppose the uncertainty plays very heavily on people's minds, because although we're further down the track in terms of vaccination and numbers and things like that, we're still all uncertain because we've had so many false starts and so many false hopes that I think everyone is there's an underlying current of worry. And sleep, is a really important tool. We need it because we have to reboot from all of our day-to-day activities. It's necessary for general health and well-being. So not just being tired, but if you don't sleep properly, then it has a significant impact on your general health. And increasing your intake of alcohol, does that affect the quality of your sleep? Yes, it does. When we go to bed at night and we go to sleep, the idea is it's a bit like turning off the computer. You want to reboot everything, get it all sort of back on track so that you're ready for the following day. So anything we do during the day or in the lead up to going to sleep can have an impact on that sleep. And not just alcohol. Ireland, we're great for tea. I love a bit of Barry's tea myself. Caffeine is a huge thing. And I think everyone's out sort of walking and trying to get fresh air and stuff, and they're picking up cups of tea and coffee right, left and centre. So caffeine is another big thing. It takes a significant amount of time to get it out of your system. So the caffeine, the alcohol, what about there's a huge increase in takeout food and click and collect stuff, which might be carby, sugary, salty, fatty? Absolutely. So if you take a really heavy meal before you go to bed, that's not going to work because your digestive system is trying to break that down. So you're activating something that actually when you want to be shutting everything down. So no heavy meals late at night. And also nothing, if you know that spicy food gives you indigestion, we know we're going to make more acid. As soon as you lie down, that's going to be accentuated and you're going to have a really disturbed night's sleep. So they looked at people's sleep patterns in the past 12 months and they found things like recurring nightmares, waking with a start, tongue biting, waking up screaming,
fear of going to sleep. This is alarming. Things called night terrors. What are they?
Yeah, so when you're waking up and you're really, 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 really startled, and that's not unusual when people are stressed. I mean, sleep is one of the key things that gets affected by stress. Or people will feel really agitated, or they'll have really, really vivid dreams or upsetting dreams. So sleep is certainly, insomnia is just one part of sleep disturbance. But yeah, nightmares and sleepwalking and sleep talking and sleep paralysis and all of these things are much more likely if you're stressed.
Did they look at all of, so you're not getting the proper night's sleep, of course, and did they look at the effects of, say, going without a good night's sleep? I mean, I read somewhere about irritability, for instance, or people being bad-tempered.
Yeah. I mean, and it goes without saying, I mean, any of us who have very little sleep are going to be moody the following day. Yeah, the majority of people who are admitting to suffering from coronasomnia say that they are irritable and they have mood swings the following day. So that has an effect not only on the person themselves, but on the people around them.
And also, it might make them more accident prone, do you think? I'm being
definitely.
alarmist.
Yeah.
Impaired
so
judgment.
Losing even when the clocks change. I mean, we know that people have that hour change difference can result in more accidents in the week afterwards.
Could I just ask you, as a by the way, is there any evidence to suggest that because of the last 12 months there has been an increase? I hear that there has been an increase in the prescription of antidepressants and sleeping tablets, for instance.
I'm absolutely certain of that. I mean, we're seeing people who on the face of things, are actually doing fine. They've got a home, they've got a job, they haven't lost anyone to COVID, but they're still struggling because, just your circumstances aren't necessarily a bar to having a mental health problem as a result of what's gone on. Mm. And it affects us all individually very, very differently. So people have been sometimes, what I found is they've been afraid to speak up because they feel like, I sound like a moaner or a malingerer when actually things are going okay for me. But you know what, it's okay not to be okay because it's a really unique situation that we've been in and it's been very, very traumatic for us.
Yeah, but I understand why people would worry about the future. They're worrying about the unknown. They're worrying about their finances, the safety and the protection, the providing for their families, their children, their jobs,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an uncertain and it's bred from the fact that, we're in something that we know more and more about every day, but we've had a lot of teething problems along the way, and I think none of us, until we're out and we're told, right, everyone is fine, COVID is really just like, put into the annals of history or is a very minor infection, we're able to manage it. I think we'll all be a little bit on edge.
There are many people now working from home, right? And probably putting in an awful lot more work than they would have done in the workplace. In fairness to them, productivity is way up. But they also spend an awful lot more time screen time. Is that affecting people's, sleep or downtime, relaxation?
It definitely is. And in this DFI survey, people mentioned that they're using, 40% of people said they've been using smartphones to help them to drift off. But also having your smartphone, your tablet or whatever it is beside the bed, you might use it as your alarm clock or whatever. If you're not able to sleep, you'll have a little look at the time, and then you see, there's a message from so-and-so or there's an update, and you go into that. And that blue light that comes out is far, far, far worse in terms of activating your alerting system than regular light, so than the light in the bathroom. So it's really important to do that electronic shutdown and close down all your devices at least 45 minutes before you go to bed.
But did they not find that listening to music was the most popular way to go to sleep?
Yes, which is interesting. I thought that was quite surprising, actually. I didn't think that many people listen to music.
What would you have thought? Reading a book or a magazine or something? Or?
Probably reading a book, I think, yeah.
Or just closing your eyes and going to sleep with nothing.
Going to sleep, yeah. And, the other thing is that if you share a room with someone, whether you're sharing a bed or whether you're sharing a room with someone, both people have to be aligned in terms of your sleep strategy. So if you've got one really messy individual, that'd be me, that type of clutter and stuff affects not only the messy individual. Are
you talking about a messy bedroom, Pixie, is it?
Yeah, I'm talking about a messy bedroom. Clutter is really bad in a room.
But surely that's fine when it's on your side of the bed.
Well, apparently it has an impact on our ability to sort of go in and unwind and relax and curl up and go to sleep. So there's clutter. There's loads of things.
There's also but there's also sleeping with the baby, or in my case, God forgive me, sleeping with the bloody dog.
Oh right, yeah.
Bad news?
Oh, I don't think anyone should have a dog in the bed.
Nor do I, but I don't have much say in the matter. The dog decides.
It's difficult, and then you've got snorers. There's loads of things that try and steal our sleep. That's for sure. But being practical about it and looking and thinking, right, how can I do better?
Okay, because they did ask you for some advice or some direction from people. What is it?
Yeah, I mean, caffeine is a big thing, Consider caffeine. And that's for all the tea drinkers out there. Caffeine can stay in your system for 3 to 5 hours. It's got a half-life of 3 to 5 hours. And it hits your system about 30 to 60 minutes after you've taken it. So if you have a massive cup of tea and then go to bed in the next half an hour, you'll probably be alert and you won't go to sleep. And then there's caffeine and other things like fizzy drinks and chocolate and all of that. So don't forget about that caffeine. Turn your electronics off. Do the electronic shutdown, and ideally try and do that at least 45 minutes before you go to bed. And maybe get an alarm clock. Don't have the iPhone or whatever it is beside your bed as your phone, because the temptation is very real to log on or read the news or whatever you might like to do to relax yourself, which actually is revving yourself up. Get the blackout blinds. They're very cheap. Blackout blinds, earplugs. Eliminate light, eliminate noise. You'll get a much better sleep.
But how do you quieten your mind?
Well,
how do you stop the thoughts? Yeah,
I mean, there are lots of meditation apps and things like that, and relaxing yourself before. Don't go into bed after you've had a big fight or done something really controversial, or been watching something really upsetting or distressing. Try and wind yourself down. The same as you do with babies. As adults, we seem to forget that, we spend ages as children and babes being in a routine and in a sort of wind down routine before we go to bed. And we seem to forget that when we're adults. It's very important to have yourself in a relaxed frame of mind. So if you go for a run, for example, you're not going to sleep when you come in.
No. Do you think that there is, is there a number of hours that all of us need? I would get maybe 6 and others would get 9. What is the magic number?
8 is always conventionally seen as the magic number. 8 hours sleep for adults is a pretty decent night's sleep. But it's not just about the quantity, it's about the quality of sleep. And many people, will get on fine on 7 hours sleep. And there are a lot of people who will manage absolutely fine on 4 hours sleep. And that seems to be the norm for them. So we're all individually quite varied. A bit like people's bowel motions are very varied, Neil. Individually, we have our own we've evolved our own habits. But it's more a question of, if you're waking up or being woken up by the alarm the following day and you're not feeling refreshed, then you haven't had a good night's sleep, and therefore you're not going to have a great day.
Yeah, of course, the body is a strange beast in the sense that it's not really welcoming of an alarm clock. It wants to wake up when it feels it is ready to take on the challenges of the day.
Yeah, but the actual routine and having a set routine of going to bed and getting up in the morning is actually really good, because it trains your system to actually work within those constraints. So it's better than saying going to bed, or like your friend is doing now, going to bed really late at night and then getting up at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. That's not good. That plays havoc with our circadian rhythm, so our body clock, because we go along the way the light and day goes. That's how our clock works. So if we're up in the dark and in bed in the day, that's not good. It really disturbs all our bodily systems.
Some great advice there, actually, I have to say, particularly with regards to tidying your nest. I like that one. So sleep, exercise, healthy eating. That's the secret to a happy life, isn't it?
It definitely is, yeah. Yeah, and boundaries. Know your boundaries, I think.
What do you mean by that?
I think put your no, don't be saying yes to everything, and know when it makes common sense to say no. Don't overstretch yourself, because that causes massive stress.
And are men as bad as women, or is it? Would you say that it's more women have a difficulty with saying no, I won't, or I can't, or not now?
I think both. I think equal. I think at the moment people have a difficulty saying no to anything because they feel, everyone's sort of trying to be supportive of everyone else, but sometimes you can just be overloaded. I don't think so. I think it's quite equal, actually. I think it's just knowing that, sometimes it's okay to say no. It's okay to say I can't do that, I can't help you with that, because I'm